I'm surprised that I'm calm, and I am ready to face this head on.
14 years after Sandy Greenberg's daughter Ellen's mysterious stabbing death, she and her husband Josh still have more questions than answers. They're about to attend a remote court hearing, the culmination of a years-long battle to get an independent review of their daughter's case. 27-year-old Ellen was found dead by her fiancé in 2011 in the kitchen of the Philadelphia apartment they shared.
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
Her body had 20 knife wounds, according to the initial autopsy report, including some to the back of her neck. The medical examiner initially ruled her death a homicide before switching it to suicide. A controversial decision that prompted the Greenbergs to file 2 lawsuits against the city of Philadelphia. But just a few days ago, a devastating blow. Philadelphia's medical examiner's office once again ruling Ellen's death a suicide and concluding that while the distribution of injuries is admittedly unusual, the fact remains that Ellen would be capable of inflicting these injuries herself.
What was your reaction to the 32-page report?
I was kicked in the stomach pretty much and dumbfounded, and I couldn't talk for 2 days, and I couldn't read it.
It's safe to say you don't accept the ruling of suicide.
No. Just from a very clinical view, nothing leans towards suicide.
It's the latest twist in Ellen's case, recently chronicled in the Hulu docuseries Death in Apartment 603. What happened to Ellen Greenberg?
It is our responsibility to Ellen to find out the truth.
Piecing together what may have happened that fateful night.
This is an unusual case because there were mistakes from the very beginning. I have investigated stabbing suicides in my career, but I've never seen anyone stab themselves in the back.
The docuseries itself was part of the materials the current medical examiner said she reviewed for her new report. In her review, Dr. Linsey Simon writes that she discovered 3 additional stab wounds and 20 more bruises than originally recorded.
Well, if that doesn't demonstrate more in support of a homicide, I'm not quite sure what will be.
Dr. Simon also writing that her decision to keep Ellen's death classified as a suicide was based on several points, including that there were no signs of an intruder, no defensive wounds, but also in part due to Ellen's struggles with anxiety, stating Ellen had an increase in energy to act on her anxious thoughts due to a change in medication.
She is not a psychiatrist. Who is she to know what was going on in my daughter's brain at the time?
On January 26, 2011, the city of Philadelphia was hunkering down amidst a snowstorm. Ellen, a first-grade teacher, was working on her students' grades in the apartment she shared with her fiancé, Sam Goldberg.
What we know is Sam Goldberg left the apartment at approximately 4:50 p.m. Per him, Ellen is alive and well and inside of that apartment. He is gone for give or take 38 and a half to 40 minutes at the gym and the lobby area, which you can see on CCTV.
Sam says he goes back to their apartment to find it locked, latched from the inside. He texts Ellen multiple times to let him in, and after making trips to the front desk, he says he breaks down their front door, where he finds Ellen slouched over on their kitchen floor.
Oh my God, she stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh no, her knife's sticking out.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Ellen had more than 20 knife wounds on her chest, torso, and the back of her neck. She was pronounced dead at the scene.
After Sam spoke with the detectives, they believed that Ellen was experiencing mental health issues. So instead of investigating this, they call it a suicide on scene.
When this horrific event took place, the whole world kind of went dark for Josh and I.
We don't believe this was a suicide.
Right.
This is the farthest thing from our mind.
The day after Ellen's death, with the green light from police, the apartment was deep cleaned by professional crime scene cleaners. But then, the day after that, the medical examiner ruled her death a homicide. He also noted bruising on her body in various stages of healing, raising even more questions.
What were your interactions with the police like?
The communication was very lacking.
I found out that they had changed, that it was what we called a homicide through word of mouth. I don't know who told me, but it was before I did the eulogy.
So there's an interesting period where the police and the medical examiner actually clash, and they don't agree, which is unusual, and they clash publicly.
Police told me the scene was carried as a suicide that night because Sam had stayed on the scene and was cooperative. There were no signs of an intruder in the apartment, and Ellen didn't have any defensive wounds on her body.
Once the medical examiners ruled this a homicide, it's like, whoa, go back and investigate. Too late. We allowed the crime scene to be cleared. I'm not talking residential cleaners. I'm talking crime scene cleaners.
Police never named any suspects, and Sam Goldberg was never accused of foul play. Weeks later, a shocking development. The medical examiner does a 180, publicly declaring Ellen's death a suicide. The decision came after a closed-door meeting with members of multiple agencies, including the police.
I was so devastated and so distraught.
Suicide is not a crime in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In other words, there is no investigation. They're done. I think Ellen was murdered.
And so, in your scenario, somebody got away with murder.
That's what I believe.
Years go by and Ellen's story starts to fade from public view until the Greenbergs meet a veteran state trooper turned private investigator named Tom Brennan.
He started reviewing things, and he took papers home and things we gave him that we had, and he came back and said, something's wrong here. This is not right.
After years of investigation, Tom felt it was time to go to the media. That's where the reporting by Stephanie Farr comes in, an investigative journalist with the Philadelphia Inquirer.
It was extremely well read. It generated a ton of interest on social media, from reader emails, and also in the true crime community.
But what gets me is the physical evidence. She has stab wounds.
And her case has been plagued with investigative failures. If you're just beginning to play along,
the case took a very strange and unexpected turn.
That just do not seem to align with suicide.
And it really just sort of snowballs into eventually this lawsuit demanding that the city change their designation from suicide to either homicide or undetermined.
With Ellen's case gaining traction in the court of public opinion, the Greenbergs filed another lawsuit, alleging a conspiracy involving the medical examiner's office and the Philadelphia Police Department's deeply botched investigation.
Raise your right hand, please.
During the deposition, the original medical examiner on the case testified that the police gave him information that led him to believe Ellen died by suicide, including that the building security guard witnessed her fiancé, Sam Goldberg, breaking down the front door to find Ellen. But that claim later refuted by CCTV footage showing Sam going up to the apartment alone around that time.
There was a report that said I escorted Sam to the unit. When I learned that, I was really upset. I'm not allowed to leave the post other than for law enforcement. It's real simple.
In Sam's 2 interviews with investigators, he never expressly states that anyone was with him when he broke in. However, while the police report doesn't mention that anyone was with Sam, the medical examiner's report does. And that's the report that Dr. Osborne used to determine Ellen's manner of death.
Sam Goldberg did not respond to the producer's request for comment, but in a statement to CNN last December, he said in part, "When Ellen took her own life, it left me bewildered. Mental illness is very real and has many victims." And just this past February, another stunning development. Just as a judge cleared the way for the lawsuits to go to trial, the Greenberg's attorney says the medical examiner struck a deal. According to court documents, Dr. Marlon Osborne signed a statement saying, "I have become aware of additional information. It is my professional opinion Ellen's manner of death should be designated as something other than suicide." Just days later, yet another bombshell. The city settling both lawsuits.
The Greenbergs settled with the city of Philadelphia, but part of that agreement was that the city would expeditiously reopen and re-examine the investigation.
But the Greenbergs and their team do not accept the results of that re-examination, even though in court today the attorneys for both parties agreed that this civil case is closed.
There are other options available that will be considered and will be pursued and have been pursued. It will not involve Philadelphia. So it's time to move on to other pastures.
The Philadelphia Police Department, the District Attorney, and the Attorney General's offices declined to be interviewed and declined to comment for the series. Dr. Marlon Osborne and Philadelphia's current medical examiner's office have declined to comment on the new report.
We're not going away and we're not giving up. So just because there was a period at the end of the sentence does not mean we forgot about our daughter, and we want to know what happened.
We want to know the truth. We are going to be fighting as long as we can and as long as it's possible.
And for much more on this story, watch Death in Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg? It's now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.